Sure.
Okay, great. So thank you, Paul. Thank you for coming into this talk show and taking out some time to do this interview with me. So welcome.
Thank you, Rohit. Glad to be
Okay.
here.
And could you please briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? My name is Paul Garcia. I'm a software engineer by training, but now I lead a team in Rethink Urban Design in Pueblo to help democratize urban development.
Great. So what motivated you to start your first company?
Actually, this is a very interesting question. It really boils down to what I just experienced. So, about 5 years ago, I bought a 100-year-old house. It had a lot of issues. It made me realize that humanity is playing this game of housing hot potato, where we just buy a house, we patch it up, put a little makeup on it, and then we call it renovated. But in reality, the things that are inside the walls have massive issues. These issues come largely ignored until there's a flood or a fire. And that's a very huge problem in society. This is why I like to call the housing a hot potato, because I was the one that actually was able to capture the hot potato and it exploded on me. What
Mm,
do I mean? I came back one day and it was a cold day in I think February or March or something. I wanted to take a hot shower after going to school. I had bought a house while I was in school because I was already full time engineer during that time.
okay.
And to my behold, I couldn't have any hot water. I went downstairs to check and it was 5 feet of sewage.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. I almost cried. I was like, I just bought this house 3 months ago in January. I closed in January. It's March. Boom. Um, and I started realizing, well, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that.
Mm-hmm.
They said, oh yeah, it's gonna cost $3,000. When they open up the concrete on the basement, it turns out that the horseshoe, the thing that connects your house, the house
Mm-hmm.
trap they call it, that
Okay.
connects your house to the city line,
Mm-hmm.
the connects to the pipe that connects to the city line, was cast iron. This is a very old material, and it had degraded from the inside, and therefore it kind of clogged itself.
I
When they
see.
took it out, they said, "Mr. Garcia, I need to show you something. I need to show you a problem that you have. We just are about to replace uh, your house trap. We took it out, and then we put the snake, and I need you to show us." Turns out that the pipes from the front of my house to the city line were actually misaligned. So not only
Okay.
was the house strap blocked,
Yeah.
but then you had the impossible scenario with the water. We're never gonna get to the sewage system.
How
So for the
was it?
last decade or two, yeah, and this goes largely unnoticed. This is a huge
Okay.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, turns out the first problem was it's gonna cost me $3,000. Then the next problem, $20,000. No, $27,000. And I didn't believe it.
Oh
I was
my
like, "What?
God.
Where am I gonna get $27,000?" He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. This is easy job. Okay, I put 10 men here, 10 men there, a little excavation machine. You're done. Here's how we're gonna do it. I got a beautiful credit card for you. It's made for jazz, just like you." And they know it. That's when it hit me. I was like, "Whoa, no! This industry is a scam. The entire real estate industry is a scam, and no one's doing anything about it." And then it hit
Mm-hmm.
me. I was like, "Wait, I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not the only one." 6 months went by. I went ahead and purchased the service. They replaced it in less than 6 hours. I think 8 hours of work, and that was it. To my surprise, it was done that quick. And then he winks at me and he's like, "Thank you for taking our services." And he
Mm-hmm.
got like 10 bodies, 12 bodies in that place. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
working at the same time. And he tells me, "Well, we got another job just around the corner tomorrow." This is a business.
Yeah, that's definitely a scam, like a very well
$27,000
planned
right
scam.
there.
Yeah.
To, yeah. And so that what motivated me. I was like, wait, no, we are doing something wrong. There's some missing element of society that no longer exists. There is a need here. People shouldn't have to play housing hot potato and and take the problems that last before. Yeah, we want to live in a bigger house, but if it's 100 years old, you're not taking care of the sewage system. You're not taking care of the electrical. Somebody else has to take that risk.
Yeah,
And it's a problem in society we can't live moving forward because a lot of people buy the house barely making it, barely make it.
that's true. That's true. So I have like a couple of questions regarding what you just told me. So, why, like, how did you arrive at the decision of purchasing 100-year-old house? Because most people, what they do is they check when the house was built, and if it's more than 30 or 20 years old, they hesitate to buy that house, right?
Right, right. So in Bayonne, New Jersey, so first of all, I was reaching a point where I was making a lot of money, and I was like, okay, well, this is time to get some house, so I get some housing credits, lower my taxes, and it was also peer pressure from family, right? You
Mm,
expect them if you're successful, don't waste it on traveling all over the world. This is honestly what I should have done. I should have just traveled all over the world and learn how to be more nomadic.
mhm.
But I fell into the peer pressure of like, yeah, I got to be that guy who's just known for being successful. I bought this house, great. And I bought this house. I was looking for something that was not too expensive.
Mhm.
I didn't want to spend more than $300,000 my first house, especially at the age of 23 or
Yeah.
24. And I said to myself, okay, great. Well, I could do this and I could do that. I go ahead and look around New York. I love New York. I've been in New York, but I also lived in New York all my life. And I also lived in Atlanta, Georgia, where I had a brand new house. And I knew what quality of life, different quality of life kind of mean. And so when I went to the apartments in New York at the time, it's already going up, ridiculous
Yeah.
price. You couldn't buy anything affordable
Mhm.
at a price tag that I was looking for.
Mhm.
Something that was decent, something without the cockroaches or without the radiator issues or all the stuff that you experienced as a New Yorker. I was there since I was very little, since 2 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've lived in close to 10 different apartment buildings in New York. It's
Okay.
a lot of places. I
Yeah.
moved a lot of times as a child. And so I know the difference between what I could afford in New York and what I want to live in quality of life. That brought me to Bayonne, New Jersey, small town. The house looked all right at the time. 100 years old. Well, most of the houses are 100 years old. I didn't really think about it.
Mm.
And that's when it hit me. I was like, okay, I'll get this huge house. I got 3 floors.
Mhm.
Um, I really like it. I really like it. Here, I could actually show you if you allow
Sure.
screen share. But the house is really great.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, yeah. So that
Let
was it.
me.
That's
Sure.
basically how I got to buying the 100-year-old house. It didn't look like a 100-year-old house. It didn't have the feel for it. But then when you go ahead and turn on the heat and do a lot of stuff that you wouldn't do during the shopping season, you
Mhm.
kind of experience that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've given you the ability to share your screen if you want to go ahead and show us
Yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
You can
Let's
do
go ahead
that.
and do that. Here, I'll go ahead and show you
Okay.
what this beauty is. Because it really was quite a trip. So
Mm-hmm.
it's 38 West 16th Street, and I just sold it,
Okay.
or I'm about to sell it. It's already in contract,
Mm-hmm.
and I renovated it. Right from the outside, I didn't do much on the outside. I actually built a deck. So
Okay.
this is my deck from the back. I built that.
The view
Well, I
is
had it
beautiful.
built.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, this is my house right here. Look at that. Boom. I had beautiful hanging chairs everywhere. I really like my hanging chairs. It's
Mm-hmm.
something of a habit. It's 3 floors. I have my running machine. I used to run a lot. Uh, this is my first floor,
Mm-hmm.
my kitchen, bedroom. This is actually my bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and my bike. I miss my bike. All of it, which is now sold. Um,
Well, in pictures, it looks beautiful. Like nobody can tell that it went through so and so problem, right?
and that's the illusion that we live with, right? Like a
Yeah.
renovated home just looks normal, right? It doesn't look
Yeah.
brand new, but it looks normal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the trick here. The real delusion or illusion is really behind the walls. You don't
Mm.
experience the paints.
That's
Now,
true.
obviously, on the outside, it's a much more different situation, right? Very
Mhm.
old. I have my hanging chair here,
Yeah.
um, And so this is that scenario. I mean, it's a really great house. It taught
Yeah.
me a lot of life lessons
Mm-hmm.
um, that I never had. It taught me that there is a lot of things wrong with society in terms of housing, and housing is a big issue. People talk about there's lack of affordable housing. Yeah, there's lack of affordable housing because no one's having a discussion on how to come together to build a brand new set of housing.
Mm. That's true. That's true. Most
Yeah.
people are just going forward with the renovating and buying old houses. That's also true. Yeah.
Yep. 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 And here, I actually wrote the housing hot potato.
Mm.
I coined this term, housing hot potato, because I've looked online. No one is ever saying this.
Okay.
And this is a picture of of my guys right there. Look
Mhm.
at that, tearing down
Yeah.
the street
Mhm.
to replace the sewer line. That's $27,000 picture right there.
Yeah.
$27,000 picture right there.
Mm. I see.
Yeah, excavation machine, everything.
That's a nightmare.
It was, but now it's over it. And as a result, honestly, it taught me the lessons I needed to learn to
Mm.
actually like do what I'm doing right now,
Mm.
which I mentioned, democratizing urban development. You
Mm.
know,
Definitely. It's a step in the right direction. So, yeah, next question to you would be where did you go to school and what did you study over there?
so I first started at Queensborough Community College. I studied accounting.
Okay.
I finished accounting, but like 1 or 2 semesters before I finished accounting, there was this professor, Michu Kaku from
Mm.
CUNY, who came through and actually spoke about the future. He said, we're going to be living in self-driving car world, and internet's going to go really fast, and you're going to have AR and VR and all these crazy things at the time. This is 2011. I think the talk was called Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku. So 2030, yeah, there we go.
Mm. I see.
His speech was called 2030, and in this speech, and I was, this is my like break time in college. He was just coming in. They were
Mhm.
just, oh guys, we have a famous person. He's writing a book. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing nothing. I ran out of cigarettes and I went inside.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, he's talking crazy. He said, yeah, there's going to be self-driving cars. There's
Okay.
going to be this and there's going to be
Yeah.
that. Who would have thought 9 years later I was working on self-driving cars? So
Mm.
my company recently got acquired. Here, I'll show you more.
Mhm.
Um, my company recently got acquired. I was part of the acquired team of Dash Ride, right? So this company, Cruise, who's owned by General Motor,
Mhm.
creates these self-driving cars, and they needed a team that understood fleet management. They
Yeah.
didn't have it. They had a bunch of software engineers that were great as software engineers, but that's all they were good at. They
Mhm.
solved issues that you told them, not issues that were understood.
Yeah.
And so what they did is they bought us out. They literally shipped us from New York. Here's me right there. I was a
Mhm.
little more chubbier.
Okay.
This is my team right there, and we
Mhm.
got bought out together. They moved us from New York to San Francisco, um, and that was there, and we got the honor of working with some of the most amazing people out there doing some of the most impossible things,
Mhm.
self-driving cars.
Yeah. And did you ever take any subject related to AI or urban planning or any like what did you study when you were in school?
Oh, right. So Queens Borough Community College, I finished with an accounting degree. After
Mhm.
that, I graduated. I went to New York Institute of Technology, where I
Okay.
studied information technology.
Oh.
There wasn't any specialization there that I took. I mainly did most of the courses that I know about machine learning or anything like that, virtually online.
Yeah.
Uh, MIT OpenCourseWare, Udacity, and whatnot. I went ahead and built some small camera algorithm that showed me where the lines were.
Mhm.
But I didn't go follow through. There's a lot of life events that were happening at the time. Everything was moving pretty fast. And I really didn't have the time to kind of invest
Mhm.
in in doing stuff like that.
Okay, that's great. So I mean, still, without taking urban planning, you are starting a company in that field. That's a big step for you, right?
It is. That's because the reason this is urban planning for the most part, right,
Mhm.
has been people at the high level with a lot of money
Yeah.
doing that, right, without any say from regular people, right? We don't
Mhm.
we don't involve them. They're not. Their opinion doesn't matter. That's basically what the industry is saying.
Yeah.
We have to work with them because they become a barrier to my construction. But generally speaking, urban developers, urban planners, they don't like people. They
Mm.
actually exclude them. In fact, you could say, based on the actions, based on what you see in places like San Francisco and all that stuff, that the only thing that matters is money.
Mm.
They don't like culture. They don't like people. They don't like community. They like money. That's what urban planners and urban developers are really saying with their actions. And you can look at San Francisco, you can look at the poverty lines of Brooklyn. You can see how many people have to live with roommates because they can't afford a single place to live.
Mhm.
Privacy is now for the rich.
Yeah. Mm. Okay, so here is a different question for you. So, according to you, what skill set a person should have while starting a business? So, definitely, like if, for example, they're starting something related to tech, it would be nice to have some skills related to tech. But that's
I
very
think
skill specific. But in general, do you think people should have some basic skills to start a business?
I think now with the no code revolution, I mean, tech is less important. It's really just about the business person at this point.
Mhm.
And I couldn't, I So here's the thing. So right now, I don't know if you understand the no code revolution. It means that now you as a business person could grab something like this. So there's this thing like Bubble, for example, right?
Mhm.
Uh, with Bubble, you can build an entire application without writing a single code, right? It's just drag
Mhm.
and drop, blah 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 blah. Very easy to use. They just got
Mhm.
a huge amount of money because they're so easy to use and they got a lot of traction. Now you have a lot of people that could do this.
Mhm.
Um, so the magic here um, is that the tech part is less important to get started, right?
Okay.
MVP wise, it's now almost not important. I
Mhm.
personally, I mean, we haven't started the product per se, but I haven't coded a single line of code in a very long while. It's been at least 6, 7 months, I think.
Okay.
Why? Because I got my entire team using stuff like tools. For example, for websites, we got Webflow, right?
Yeah.
You ever heard of Webflow?
Yeah, definitely.
So Webflow, boom, I just sign in, I drag and drop, and that's it.
Mhm.
I mean, the magic is basically already done.
Yeah.
I put in the information that needs to be put in. My designer puts the images and the color, and we're done.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, understanding tech, yes, but it depends. If you are trying to be a pitch, an AI machine product,
Mhm.
machine learning product, a
Yeah.
self-draught thing, yeah, you better know tech because the
Yeah.
business doesn't matter. But if you're trying to create a marketplace or something that just doesn't involve that kind of level, it's just bringing people together and
Mhm.
it's about how you together, then yeah, you don't really need to worry about tech because there's a lot of tools out there that do it for you.
Mm. That's true. That's true.
But as far as skills that you really should have right now, it's really business skills. I mean, now more than ever, I see, for example, there's a lot of people that study business. And I
Mhm.
always question, I was like, well, why are you studying business? So what are you, oh, well, I want to start my own business. Okay, cool. But there's a lot of people that don't walk out starting a business. They don't actually do anything with that stuff, right? They just
Yeah.
work for somebody else. They don't even have a job in that particular field. They work in some particular field that's related, but not really. But they're not starting businesses. Let me give you an example. I've seen a bunch of MBAs. They don't know how to start a business. They don't
Mhm.
have an idea of to start a business, even though it's required, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
business,
That's also true.
grit, communication. You want to have network, right? Network has now become the biggest, most powerful thing, right? Right
Mhm.
now, we're seeking capital for for our product.
Yeah.
And network really is the thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Networking is definitely important. That's true.
yep, yep. Also, another thing that I just saw today, right? I was looking at a seminar for Shadow VC's accelerator, and one thing that really stood out to me was really important, which it works for me.
Hmm.
I'm really good at meeting people everywhere where I go,
Yeah.
having a great relationship with them. And one of the things that he mentioned was like, well, if I'm a venture capital investing in your firm, you better know exactly your first 20 hires. You would have already met them
Hmm.
because you already would have worked at various great places, and you could easily just hit them up with a
Exactly.
job offer, because
Hmm.
you don't have to interview them. You know how they work,
Hmm.
because the wrong hire at an early stage startup is
Hmm.
is is very painful.
Yeah.
It could destroy an entire company. And so
Exactly.
that was something that really, caught on to me, because honestly, as a founder, I went through a round of co-founders that really weren't producing,
Hmm.
but they cost me a lot of time. They forced me to be behind on a lot of things that were important to the company. As a result, we're not as successful.
Yeah. Mm. So while starting up these two companies, so the earlier one was related to self-driving cars, and the current one is related to urban planning. What were some of the hardships that you faced, and like some of the failures and some of the successes?
So I didn't start Rethinker. I didn't start uh, Dash Ride. That was the company that got acquired. I was employee number five.
Okay.
Um, I was a very early employee there, and I think I was probably like the second or third hire. Everybody else was a co-founder there.
Hmm.
They discovered that they wanted to make an application for sober rides. This was 2009, 2008. Uber just came out. They
Hmm.
were killing the market. They had everybody cornered. But these guys found a niche, a very small niche. They said, okay, well, let me go ahead and make it for my drunk friends. My
Yeah.
drunk friends need a ride.
Hmm.
And and they started with a bus situation. They tried to get some traction there, and they went through an accelerator, which took their product and said, well, we could sell it to existing car companies,
Hmm.
right? These existing car companies need their own application.
Yeah.
Obviously, none of them survived, as you know.
Hmm.
Uh, Not many survived. They all lost their employees. And if you got a yellow medallion, you're not exactly happy about your life, because
Hmm.
Uber was able to circumvent those rules completely,
Hmm.
to the right, because the yellow medallion was just corrupt. It's as corrupt as the housing. I mean, really, we really normalize corruption and work with it rather than try to avoid it.
Hmm.
So that's another conversation on its own. But
Yeah.
um, but generally speaking, yeah. So the first company was started off just trying to create an Uber that caters to drunk people. Turned out to be a fleet management tool. So
Okay.
the way we got into the self-drive, why we were very attractive, is because we understood how the industry worked together. We
Okay.
understood what the human has to go through that
Hmm.
isn't talked about, right? Driving from point A to point B in a car company that's 1,000 people, 1,500 drivers. There's a lot of things that happen in the back.
Yeah.
We understood that as an industry. The second company, right?
Hmm.
Are you the Rethink Urban Design? It's actually two companies. So let me actually briefly outline. We have a community building branch
Hmm.
of Pueblo. Pueblo is the overall company. It's like Alphabet, if
Okay.
you want to think of it.
Hmm.
And Pueblo Platform is the technology piece. Rethink Urban Design is the community building piece. What that means
Okay.
is this problem of urban design, we need to bring people together. We need to bring them all together that they are doing stuff. They are going ahead and succeeding.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, let's bring people together and rethink urban design. The reason we started Rethink Urban Design was to build excitement around the idea that people should come together to rebuild. And we do that by doing a design competition.
Hmm.
That enabled us to bring very powerful people to come speak at it. For example, we had Regina Gray
Hmm.
serve in our panel to discuss the problems of urban development. Regina Gray is the director of affordable housing at the HUD. Doesn't get any higher than that. No
Yeah.
higher authority when it comes
Definitely.
down to affordable housing, especially with a person that had nothing ever to do with affordable housing. Now all of a sudden is talking to these people.
Mm.
We're talking to Via. Via is a car sharing company that specializes in turning point to point system for public transit, essentially putting an app in the bus system.
Mhm.
That's a great thing. Now
Yeah.
they love us. A lot of different other companies, and that's kind of we started these brands. I started these brands because I understood how complex it is to sell a car in the age of the horse.
Yeah.
We are dealing with the horse situation where people are comfortable riding their horse. Everybody has a horse, and nobody knows what to do with the horse once it ages other than sell it.
Mm. That's true. So apart from work, what do you do when you're not working? Yeah.
Actually, in the last couple of weeks, that has not been true at all. I've worked
Okay.
24/7 basically.
Mhm.
Mainly because there's always something new that's coming out, a law
Mhm.
that like allows us to do something else, or some grant or something.
Yeah.
Uh, now we're doing the fundraising part, right? So we finished the pitch deck, and now it's about feedback and doing this. And it's very true. If you're fundraising, you're not doing product. And now I have people that are on this situation on different parts, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that need to be done. So I haven't had any free time, but other than that, I mean, I go take beautiful walks around Peru. Peru has some great scenery. um, I just moved here actually.
Okay.
The other things I like to do is recently I started writing a book, and I'm almost done with it.
Oh,
The book
wow.
is yeah, yeah. I'm 80% there. I got
Okay.
to transcribe most of it. It's probably going to be like a 4-part series.
Hmm.
I got to figure out how to end the first book.
Okay.
But I haven't been able to touch that book in a while because we are trying to get as many people involved in this conversation,
Hmm.
and that takes a lot of growth hacking, right? It takes
Yeah,
me going into groups, talking about these things, and
definitely.
and getting people involved.
Mm. Interesting. And could you share an important life lesson that you learned?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
the cheap costs more. The
Okay.
cheap costs more. I mean, it's very basic. What it means is when you look for something that's cheap,
Hmm.
it's not going to last, or it's not going to be of the quality that you're looking for. Now,
Mm.
obviously, there's a lot of exceptions, right? But when you're thinking about assets, homes, particularly homes,
Hmm.
you're always going to be worried. When is this going to break down? What's going to
Yeah,
happen?
that's
Cars, the same exact thing. You buy a used car, you're going to have that same exact thing. Yet your
mm.
inspector is going to inspect it as is, but tomorrow that's not going to be the case.
Mm.
And so the cheap costs more, and then sometimes it's just better to buy brand new,
Mm.
or I like to say, never buy. You either buy something brand new,
Yeah.
which has a warranty that's like thing,
Hmm.
or you don't buy,
Yeah.
because you're gonna have headaches. And those headaches, when they hit, they're not fun. They're not
Mm.
fun. A lot of people think it's fun, but it's not fun.
Definitely, like if you can do without a car or without, purchasing some expensive real estate or something else, then definitely I agree with you. It's life, peaceful. You can keep on living as you are. But if you
Exactly.
have enough capital on the side that you want to invest, then maybe you can move forward with that. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, and there's better ways to invest it, right? People talk
Yeah.
about investments. The house should not be, in many ways, that's where
Mm.
we really default as a society. We see as the house investment,
Mm.
rather than the community building instrument, right? People
Yeah.
see it, hey, this is my value store, which is great.
Hmm.
But when people have the mentality of this is my value store, now this is how us millionaires make some money,
Mm.
right? And now that becomes a profit generating scenario, and that's all it is above everything else.
Yeah.
This is where we say, oh, people, no, we don't like people, we like money.
Hmm.
Community, no, forget about that. No, no community. We
Mm.
like money. And that's a very bad thing for society and for the future of our children, which are going to have to pay the burden of these prices.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your favorite book and why?
Ah,
Yeah.
I mean, if as a child I liked this book by Agatha Christie, it was called "And Then There Were None." It's probably one
Okay.
of the few books I've read during the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like The Odyssey. The Odyssey was really something else. I learned a lot of life lessons from The Odyssey. You know, everything from trust to just being able to talk to people, right? Like understanding how much you can get away with
Mm-hmm.
in confusing people
Yeah.
to the point where they don't even understand themselves, right? For example, there was this one life lesson uh, when when Ulysses attacks the ogre,
Okay.
and he told him before they attack, when they were starting friends, "Who are you? I'm nobody, nobody." So when Poseidon asked him, "Who attacked you?" Nobody. That's why it
Mm-hmm.
took so long. That's why Poseidon didn't catch up to him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you know, from a business standpoint. Um, the Everything Store was really good
Mm-hmm.
because you know you get into Jeff Bezos and how he started looking at these things, and you know it was a much simpler time. Honestly, like who would have thought? He did it. He really rocked it. We could see how he did it, his mindset process. But obviously, selling items
Mm-hmm.
on a marketplace, I could have saw that. Everybody could have saw that. Maybe not at the time. I
Yeah.
mean, no one saw it, but it was there. It was there.
Mm-hmm.
If you really understood the technology at the time, it was all there.
Yeah.
And so, uh, you know, it goes into how I'm starting my company and the structure of our meetings, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
we are trying to be as efficient as possible. Look, I've worked at various companies.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of stuff. I've been a manager for a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much been able to work solo independently without having any assistance in various locations. Um, but as I'm trying to create a team and scale it, it's very important to have those structures and those principles of structures. For example, one thing that I really like is, hey, write a one pager about the meeting so we go straight into the meat,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's no brainer. Who would have
Yeah.
thought? Uh, you know, and that's yeah, those are pretty much the books I'm pretty fond of.
Okay. So, how does your business impact others?
Well, that's very simple. Right now, we're all stuck in the loophole, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
look at housing prices, people aren't really happy. They
Yeah.
don't like the quality of the product they're buying, but those are the only products that are available. Inventory is not growing on trees. Developers have limited that inventory so that they can raise the prices. This is what they did. And they'll say, no, no, I didn't limit it. The government did. And that's partially true. But these guys are not developing houses so you can have a comfortable life. They're developing houses so that they can make money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you create a platform that allows people to build by coming together, right? What does it mean when 10 families come together? Right now in Queens, they could buy uh, $750,000 home, right? That's how it's going to cost in
Yeah.
Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the good parts, right? Bad parts, maybe some more, maybe some less, depending on the potential. Because Brooklyn Flatbush, a couple 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. Now it's impossible. $1 million house everywhere. Brownstones, brownstones for $1 million now, $2 million, 5.2 million. No, to
Mm-hmm.
me, like I lived in those places. I know. I just can't imagine people would be foolish enough to do that. But that's what happens when outsiders, people that are not from New York, just have the money for it and just like, I love this area. Boom, let me renovate it and ignore the structural issues that really come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what we're doing at Rethink Urban Design in Pueblo is we are creating a pathway for people to build for themselves by using the existing instruments and discounts that all these developers already use.
Yeah.
We're empowering you with the same tools. All you have to do is say, I like this design. Great. I, as a property owner, commit to it. I, as a land seller, commit to it. And that's it. We have design, we have property, we have buyers. They come together. We made a deal. Now you're paying construction price and not market price.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And who are the people that support your business?
So right now I have a team, and it's actually pretty spread out. Obviously, my first person who supports my business is my mom.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
been pretty supportive of it. She's an
Mm.
entrepreneur herself, and you know she has done a lot of good stuff here in
That's
Peru.
great.
Uh, she inspired me a lot. And so when I got laid off and we separated from Cruise, I was like, I can't go back to the workforce. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I like my 150,000 plus job. That's great. But no, I could do much better. I could do more than just make money. I can do something that really impacts people because I've seen it. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it done. And so what I thought to myself was like, okay, well, uh, let me start something. So that came from my mom. Besides that, I have friends that I met all over. One in particular, Chris, who's my CMO.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot of great stuff. He's worked with a lot of great people. And
Okay.
so, he's done a lot of things like, for example, television shows in Univision and iCross and all these different channels that I'm not familiar with because I don't watch TV, but
Mm-hmm.
he likes to point them out.
Yeah.
Aside from that, we have great interns. They started as interns, but
Mm-hmm.
now they're my head of business and head of design. They were just really people I could not work without. I was like, whoa, you have the design skill, you have the business skills. Great.
Yeah.
Now we brought these people together. So we had a very small team.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently we actually added on to more people. We added on Carolina, an old time friend.
Mm-hmm.
She is now a top lawyer at an insurance firm. So lots of litigation, lots of stuff to look at.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Pablo Vargas, who was actually head of kind of the garages, the garage management kind of situation for the autonomous vehicle world. Um,
Yeah.
so he was pretty much in charge of scaling the systems and doing a lot of the process management that comes into play. When it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to what the car could do without the human, you have to
Mm-hmm.
be able to manage that and turn I mean, car necessities to human action. And
Mm.
that's kind of what he helped us do.
Interesting. And do you have a pledge for 2021?
A goal?
A goal, a pledge? Yeah.
Yeah. My pledge is to really just try to get as many designs and as many schools. Actually, I would say my pledge is to try to get as many schools
Mhm.
involved in democratizing urban development
Okay.
uh, as possible. And my goal for this year is actually 10 schools. We already have one,
Mhm.
NYIT.
Yeah.
We're already in talk with many. But my goal is to make it so that they change their curriculum to a service learning kind of scenario where everything they produce is actually actionable and usable.
Mm. Interesting. Okay, so now we have reached the rapid fire section of the interview. So I'm going to ask you short questions, and you don't have to think too much about it. Just answer whatever comes to your mind and try to keep the answer short. So are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So first question to you is three things. Tell me three things that no one knows about you.
Three things. Well, I like to eat the same breakfast every day. I like to
Okay.
have patterns. That's
Mhm.
one. Um, I don't like to code as much as people think I
Okay.
do.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very obsessive when I want to do stuff.
Oh,
I
okay.
really am.
Okay. And what is the craziest thing someone has done for you?
Someone has done for me.
Yeah, for you.
The craziest thing somebody has done for me.
Yeah.
Ha. This has to be. I got to give it up to my friend Chris. My
Okay.
friend Chris, who I met at the jacuzzi about it. No, I met him at a wine party, and then we just used to go to jacuzzi all the time. He's my CMO now. He basically came all the way from San Francisco to New Jersey to shoot a video for less than $1,000. And to me,
Oh,
that was
wow.
the craziest thing because it showed me how much he loved me.
Yeah.
I know the value of his work, and it showed
Hmm.
that, oh wow, he really believes in the idea. And that's when I really started understanding how much what I had going on and how what the possibility was. So to me, that was the craziest thing for me anybody's ever
That's
done for me.
impressive. Yeah. Okay. And what's the one thing that you would like to change about yourself?
Uh, mm, I would say as jokingly the financial situation.
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, definitely want to be in a funded position,
Mhm.
but that's going to come. I'm not really worried about it. I am, but not really. It's a variety of different things, but I'd say the one thing, I would say my ability to adapt to changing circumstances.
Oh, that's a good
Uh,
answer. Nice.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been very good at adapting to certain things,
Hmm.
but being an entrepreneur, you have to really understand, what do you do at last minute, like
Hmm.
last minute. Like for example, we had a few people that signed up for the event. We had like a guest list of like 80 people,
Yeah.
and most of them did not show up as
Hmm.
intended, not through the Zoom. We
Okay.
did, however, restream across all the channels, and that's when we got a massive 200 people, which was great. Now we have eyes on this thing.
Hmm.
And then secondly, the amount of participation I counted on a bunch more people participating on the actual design stuff, right? We had over 30 different designers that were signed up, and lo and behold, they just disappeared.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and changing circumstances. So,
Hmm.
the one thing that build safeguards
Hmm.
around scenarios. You know,
Hmm.
if you have 30 people signed up in a digital age and they haven't paid anything, they haven't lost anything.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm looking at, like reasons why it happens. Well, they didn't pay anything; they have nothing
Yeah.
to lose.
Hmm.
So okay, charge them next
Exactly.
time we charge them. You
That's
didn't want it free, great, charge you.
okay. And so, what's your spirit animal?
I would say it's the monkey.
Okay. Oh, you have a tattoo? Okay.
It's the monkey. It's the monkey because I grab on and climb from tree to tree, right? I'm not really static. I really like to be around in all types of aspects of
Mm-hmm.
every kind of business, right? Even when I was an engineer, I was also leading efforts to do a lot of community work. One thing in particular, let me go ahead and pull this up. That I went ahead and brought in a bunch of kids from. Let's see, hold on. Let me try to get you this accurately. This is February. Right, here we go. So even though I was just an engineer, I brought in like a bunch of 50 kids
Mm-hmm.
from Lima, actually from
Okay.
Peru, to come to our factories to learn about self-driving car technology.
Oh.
We inspired a bunch of people that were already studying medicine, already studying all types of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we inspired. They were like, "Whoa, no, I want to be like you.
Yeah.
I want to work with you." Yes. And so we brought them here. Their parents are there. It's a very fun time. They got to learn a bunch of other stuff, and I love that.
Mm.
So I'm not just a software engineer. I'm also community driven. I like to bring people together. I like to show them what's possible,
Mm.
because once you show them what's possible, the right people coming together do the impossible.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, this is
Yeah.
great. And what is a rumor about you that you wish you were true?
A rumor that I think in San Francisco, because I partied a lot, people thought I was rich.
Uh-huh.
It's like,
Okay.
let's just say San Francisco is a very wild town, and people
Yeah.
really, really generous. And
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, people would just see me all around town, and I was partying my ass off.
Okay.
And there were times where I didn't pay for anything.
Okay.
There's not time, but I think people thought I was rich sometimes. There are
Mm-hmm.
some people like, "Oh, can you invest in my fund?" Like, bro, I'm nowhere near those numbers. I'm not. Uh, Not that I wouldn't, but just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't in my queue right now.
Mm.
But yeah,
Interesting.
this is pretty much one I think would be a no-brainer
Mm-hmm.
there.
And what's the easiest way to piss you off?
Tell me that you're going to be doing something and don't meet that deadline. This
Okay.
is the easiest way to piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I can understand that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like I read a book. It's called The Speed of Trust. It's a very short book, but it explains a lot of valuable lessons, right? One of the valuable lessons is how fast things move when you don't have to ask people what to do,
Mm.
right? What are they doing? And the one example that they showed was this bagel. This company in New York was a bagel shop, and the bagel shop
Mhm.
had very huge lines across the town. And the main hurdle, it took 1 second to put the donut or the bagel inside the bag and give it to the user.
Yeah.
But to get the change, usually because this is before credit cards and before ePay and all that stuff, it took about um, it took about 1 minute.
Mm.
So you have a line out the door. It keeps adding, and you can't serve 1 minute per person. Definitely not a good sign.
Yeah.
So what did this guy do? He said, "Here's the jar. Here's where you're gonna put your thing. You need to grab your own change.
Mm.
And if you pay, boom, you give me the bill over here. But you need to grab your own change."
Okay.
As a result, I think that thing shifted to from a 1 minute transaction to a 10-second transaction.
Mm. Well, it's a really
But that
fun
was only
one.
possible when people trust each other,
Mm.
right? And at that level, it's not complete trust because you have other people in the line that are also looking for a bagel.
Mhm.
And the risk reward, right? The risk is I lose a couple pennies here and there.
Mm.
If somebody's really going to try to steal from me, then
Mm.
they'll face the consequences of their own.
Mhm.
But the likelihood is that people wanted to pay for these bagels. And they did. And they were honest about it. And as a result, they went ahead and served more people than they could before.
Mhm. Interesting. Yeah, that's a good method. If everybody can exactly take their change and not cheat, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so now you have to rate yourself from 1 to 10 based on the following: 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. And so these are your options. One is quick learner,
Seven.
book enthusiast,
Book enthusiasm. Three.
leader,
Legal.
leader,
Leader. I would say I'm an eight.
okay, and a CEO,
I am an a seven. Seven CEO.
a friend.
Friend five.
Okay. Okay, so that's it. That was the end of the rapid fire round. It was supposed to be very short, but there were a lot of fun examples, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was
We need
entertaining.
to we need to explain.
Yeah,
We gotta give context.
mhm, definitely. Okay, so we have reached the last question. Can you nominate 3 other CEOs or any C-level executives who would be interested in doing an interview with me?
I can nominate three, right?
Mhm.
I think Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos.
That you personally are in connection with.
No, that's actually going to be tough.
Uh-huh.
Actually, maybe. I would have to see. I'm not
Uh-huh.
sure if they actually, and they don't probably,
Mhm.
speak the same language. But yeah, I don't have any CEOs that I personally know. I'm actually
Mhm.
the only, and that's the trouble too. I'm breaking a cycle here, right? I'm not surrounded by CEOs. I'm not surrounded by entrepreneur things, and
Mhm.
that's why I'm a five and a friend.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, that's all right. I believe I'll run into somebody eventually.
Thank you.
Okay, so it was, great having you on the interview. It was fun talking to you and knowing about your life, knowing about your company, your previous work experiences, and the lessons that you learned from all of those experiences. It was, great having you on this talk show. I hope you had a fun time talking to me as well.
I did. It was a great one. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great, great. So
Really
I
appreciate
wish
it.
you all the best for this year, and I hope your company does well.
Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to doing another interview when we raise our first round fund.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I look forward to that as well.
Have a
I
good one.
hope you raise the fund very quickly.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Okay,
Have a
then
good one.
let's wrap up this interview. Thank you for joining in. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.